It's the last day of finals, and I just finished my last final. I think it went pretty well, but I just wanted to give you guys a little tour of where I've been staying, and I thought since I'm kind of on the outskirts of where I normally go, I would start here. So here's a little tour of Prato. It's not all of Prato because Prato is pretty big, but here we go. Here we have the University of something about Florence. We call it Penn, but they have a basketball court and it's right outside of the train station, which is right there. And I'm gonna walk towards the train station. There are 3 different ways. There's a long ramp, there's a short ramp, and these stairs. So we're headed to the train station. As you can see, there are bicycles parked right there because a lot of students ride their bicycles or bring their bicycles on the train when they're going to school, and we're at the train station. At the train station there is a vending machine, a cappuccino machine which makes your own cappuccino, the train schedule and bus schedules. This station only has 2 train stations. You get up there that way and there's 2 platforms. On this street, there's 3 restaurants that the university that I go to uses as meal vouchers. So there's Chocolat, which has mostly breakfast stuff, but you can go in there for lunch. I like the coffee there. I usually get a cafe latte. And right next to it is Ravioli di Cristina, which is a Chinese food restaurant. One of the many Chinese food restaurants in Prato, but this is the only one that we have on our meal plan. It's really nice. It's cute. I've only been there once, but it's good. A lot of us like it there, so that's one place that we eat. And it is open for lunch and dinner most days. And this is also one of the places that is on the street. We have lunch and dinner here. It is called Bon Prato, and it serves hamburgers, hot dogs, a lot of American type food. Currently it's closed because it is about 10:30 and lunch is not for another hour and a half, so it is closed right now. If tattoos are something that you would like to get, there is a tattoo parlor in Prato. It is called Art Under Skin, and it is also on this street, which is right next to the train station, so there's easy convenience. If you're in Florence but you want to come and get a tattoo in a smaller town, you can come here and do that. There's also a hair salon, which you can get haircuts, hair color, basic stuff like that. There's also a couple of stores on this street as well, if you want to go shopping. But none of them are very big stores, and I've never been into most of them. Some of them sell jewelry, some of them sell other stuff. Over on this street, which is just turning a corner from the street that we were just on with Bon Prato on it, there's a church on this side, and this is also where the grocery store is that uses the meal vouchers that we have. So we have 4 types of meal vouchers. This is the grocery store, and the guy who works here is very nice, and he's one of my favorite people that I've gotten to meet here. But the meal vouchers that we have 4 types. So there's a breakfast called calzone, a lunch called pranzo, and dinner is cena. And then we also have a pizza kebab, which we can use for a slice of pizza or a kebab at the kebab place down the street from our school. So the ones that the grocery store take is pranzo, which is approximately €6, so we can get anything we want from there other than alcohol for 1 or 2 vouchers. Lasts the whole week, and it's just very convenient for us. Something that I did include in the my first month in Prato video that I posted a while ago was this fountain. It is part of this park. It's not a large park, but there's a lot of seating and this fountain, which is very beautiful to me. So this is the park. There is a lot of this type of ground, so I definitely don't recommend wearing heels, but this is the only place where the cobblestone and ground is very bad. Most of it is kind of like this, some of it has dents, but that's really it. When we came, I thought that it was going to be completely horrible with the walking and everything, and a lot of us thought so too, but it isn't. It's pretty decent. So this is one of the parks. It's an area of public greens, so it's a little muddy, but there's benches that are really cute. They match the fountain, and it's really wet, so I'm gonna move out of the grass. It just rained last night. But there's benches, there's another fountain over here that you can get your water at, and this is one of the very few places around here that has grass, which is something that was very different for us when we first got here from home, because a lot of us have grass at home, and coming to a place that didn't have a lot of grass out was a very interesting experience. We kind of missed that at first, but we all found little bits of grass, so that worked out. And this is a fountain that's like a public fountain. You can drink out of it, so if you push this, right here is a water comes out that we were allowed to go to and buy fruit and vegetables. I never went there, but I know people who had, and they would use the kebab vouchers, I believe. So this is Piazza del Duomo, and it is the piazza that we have the Duomo in, which is the cathedral in Prato. And a little fun fact about this cathedral, well, a couple. It is made out of the front, which is the facade, is made out of bricks that were from the Tuscany area. The green ones are actually from Prato up in the mountains. And the pulpit that you can see on the outside is where the belt that is the belt of the Virgin Mary, which she wore when she was pregnant, and they show it a couple of times a year, which the last time that they did show it was during Easter, and unfortunately I was unable to come and see it, but some of my friends saw it, so I will see if I can find video. But it's a pretty church. It's not that big, it's not that small. Right now there's also a carousel outside. It is closed because it is morning time, and also because it was raining, so right now you can't see the horses, but there's a cover over it, and hopefully it will be open a little later so I can at least get a video of it spinning. There's a fountain right here which is not functional anymore, other than you can drink water out of it. I have friends who've done it. I wouldn't do it because it's just an old fountain and I don't really trust that. It's basically rainwater, so I would not recommend doing that. If you look over here, we also can see the train station from here, and a little bit of the mountain with smoke rising off of it, which is actually very pretty. And this is a statue of a man. It's a statue of a man, and he was very important in Prato history, but unfortunately I am blanking on who he was and what he did, but he was very important enough for a statue. There is actually a story that goes with the belt of the Virgin Mary. So they display it often, and they don't display it that often. It's about 8 times a year, I believe, but when they display it, a lot of people from all over the place come from around Prato and from around Europe and even other countries that are not European countries. So this door right here is supposed to have a bloody handprint of someone who tried to steal the belt or the girdle, which is called the chintala, and they tried to steal it, and the people in the town ended up chasing him, finding him, and his hand ended up getting thrown, well, chopped off and then thrown at the building because they wanted to make a point. So there's supposed to be a bloody
What you see
handprint
now is
on
a
this
map
door right
that was
here.
on the ground, and it is a map of what I believe was the complete inner circle of Prato. So in Prato, it is surrounded by walls through the entire thing, like a lot of places in Europe, and I believe it is what was inside of the walls, if I remember correctly.
This street, at least for me, is probably the most used street. It kind of gets everywhere. It leads from my school to the Duomo. This is a store called Must, and it's got a lot of little cute tchotchkes in it. We're coming around to where the town hall is, so I will show you that. There's also a museum right near it, so I'm going to stop in the next little square and show you around. So right here is a statue of Francesco di Marco, and he created the banknote. So we have a statue because he was from Prato. So we just have a statue dedicated to him, and just dedicated to him. There's also the museum of the, like, one of the museums that we have in Prato. It's the Museo di Palazzo. This truck just went in my way. Palazzo Petero. And right over here is the town hall. It's very large. But this is the town hall. And school is just a little bit further away. This is one of the fountains in Prato, and it is probably my favorite fountain, but it has been off recently. This is the first day that it's been on for about a month, at least. And it's just a little child sitting on some grapes, but I like it. Sometimes it squirts out into the street, so if you walk by, you might get wet, especially if the wind is blowing, but I just like it. It's kind of nice to walk by and hear the water running. And there's also a restaurant right next door. So, yeah. The store that I'm walking by now has all stuff that was made in or has ingredients from Prato. There's wines, cookies, pretty much anything you could imagine. Other than clothes, because we have the textile museum, and yeah. And we're going to head over to the place where we can buy biscotti di Prato, which was from here. This is Antonio Mattei, which is the place where biscotti di Prato was actually created. And we have made it to the plaza that my school is in. This is Piazza San Francesco, and my school is located here. So this is the space that I hang out with the most. There is the church that is attached to our school, and our school actually has a lot of history that I will explain if I can remember. But there's also a restaurant called I Franceschioli, which is very good. I recommend the grilled chicken. But I'm gonna go into my building now.
This is the street that I
will talk
probably
to you
use
all
the
in a little
second
bit.
most. The church that I volunteered with is on it. There was also a grocery store and two of the main restaurants that we would always go to, Chigarba and Mocha. It also took you to outside of Prato, where past the tooth, which is what you just saw, we would go to a bigger grocery store. And if you look over here, this is actually a piece of the wall that isn't across the road anymore. This was a shoe store. And on the exact opposite side of this shoe store is where I volunteered, and also where Chigarba was, which is right where we just passed. There was also a baby supply store and a few other little stores where you could buy little tchotchkes. This is also the street that had the most trees that I had seen in Prato. And around this corner is the restaurant that I was going to that night, which is called Mocha. As you can see, it was my favorite restaurant probably the entire time I was there. They had amazing lava cakes. Again, this is the tooth a little closer. This is another picture of my campus, and this is where the church was and the castle. If you heard in that last clip, those are the bells that are in Prato, and you can hear them pretty much all day. They go off every hour or so, depending on if it's a holiday, they might go off more. I will be. This is the castle that is in Prato, and it's actually right down the street from the school that I went to, and it's one of the main squares in the city. If you went straight through the square where the castle is, there's a restaurant and a church. And if you go past the church, there's some more streets with houses, stores, a cake store, some restaurants. And if you continue straight, there is a whole piazza where there's shopping and an ice cream shop. And that was one of my favorite places to go. There was a store there called Caddy's, and I shopped there very often, if not at least once a week. They had little things. It was like an Aldi's almost, without food. So they had cleaning supplies, makeup, stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed the video, and this was all the tour of Prato, where I was for 6 months almost.